We're back, another edition post-bye week here on Inside the Burrow. I'm Robbie Listella alongside my co-host Mike Bergman, Kevin Fielder. Back and better than ever because we saw some basketball this week. I did, Mike did. Kevin sees some K-State basketball every now and then, I'm sure. But Mike was at FAU men's basketball practice yesterday. I was there today. I was there on Monday.
Media Day.
Texas is upon us as well. So it's a busy week here at FAU. Mike, what was going on there before we talk a little bit about Media Day? What was going on today?
You guys know, hoops is my sport. I've always been like a college hoops guy, so I get super excited about college basketball, and it's not just FAU. I just like it as a whole. I think it's like the greatest sport in the world. But for FAU fans out there who are watching this podcast, you'll be happy to know that we have a really good team, and I think they're going to surprise a lot of people this year. And I know it was kind of like shell shock last year when, at the end of last season when there was like the great exodus of players. But unfortunately, we got spoiled the year before when they all stayed. Right, that doesn't really happen anymore, especially at mid-major level when teams are super successful and there's like stars on the team. Their value goes up, and there's schools that will pay for that. Right, we know that. That's just how like the NIL works and the kind of like the environment that we're in now with the entire NCAA as a whole. Not a big fan of it personally, but I will say this: Coach Jacobs and his staff, and a lot of them have been on this pod. Right, those guys, we all know them now. Awesome people. They did an incredible job putting a team together. There is some major talent on the floor. Baba Miller is an absolute freak. Absolute freak. The stuff he was doing just in practice was like, it's elite. It's elite. It's at a level that we really haven't seen a big man have at FAU. And I know that Vlad was really good underneath and blocking and, playing the five. Baba could do it all, right? He could shoot an outside shot, no problem, and he's comfortable with it. He moves like a guard, and watching that happen at that size is incredible. He's fast and super confident and nimble, and he just moves really well all over the court. And I think that's going to be a major weapon for us. And I want to take away from the rest of the team because they're solid all the way across, like all the way through. And for me, I was looking at like, who would my starting five be? I was having a really hard time, which usually isn't the case, right? Like usually there's like five dudes that you're like, okay, these are the guys. And then maybe there's like a sixth guy that can start, but like someone's got to be number 6, right? But I think like the first 10 of them are all starters, and it's really cool to watch.
The depth is going to be key.
It's not only the depth, but it's also weird to like watch this team because they're super long. Like,
they haven't had that either.
We have a lot of length that we've never ever had before. Never. I can't remember any time where we've had 3 guys that could potentially all be on the court together that are like between 6'10" and 7'1" or whatever. It's incredible. Last year it was like Vlad and Bilo when they were both on the court at the same time. That was like our tall lineup.
Yeah,
right?
the thing that's so important is that like people are going to go, well, that you had Giancarlo and Vlad, you could not play those two together.
There were a couple instances last season where Vlad and Rosado were on the court together.
But it wasn't the most effective lineup just because you were so.
It was only when we had to counter like them having two.
Yeah, you were so squished for spacing because. Small. I mean, they were both talented players, and they're both going to have terrific seasons, at Michigan and Charlotte, respectively. But also, they weren't shooters. Like, just to be blunt, they weren't guys who could stretch the floor. And so, like,
Baba's a threat on the outside.
Yeah, Baba, you at least have to account for him shooting the ball. Whether it's going to always go in, probably not, right? Because he still is not the most effective shooter in college basketball. But you at least have to account.
I think he's probably like he's better than the average big. Let's say
he's improved. That's the goal because that was like a little bit of the struggle.
He can play wing and he can play down low, and that's gonna be huge. The Lithuanians, these guys are good. They're good. They're a little old. Like one of them's a little older than the other, but you can tell the maturity's there from playing at that like semi-pro European level. Really, really good. Ken Evans, awesome. Tandy, awesome. Trey's looking really, really good, and it's good to see that. Like Trey playing with the new guys and like just totally fitting in, and them all.
Avid palm tree fan, Trey Carroll. He posted a new Instagram pic with the palm tree. It's a new year.
He's a big palm tree guy. I like that. Yeah, I like that about Trey. Trey's my guy. Jack Johnson was just drilling buckets. Like
we're gonna see him on the court this year. I
don't know. I mean, we might see him against St. Leo's. Coming up in a couple weeks. But yeah, I think we got a lot to look forward to. That I know the coaching staff, they look really happy with what's going on. Jake has had fire today when he was doing his thing, and it's gonna be great, man. I hope the LA continues to have that same kind of rocking atmosphere. I hope people come out. I hope they're not just like, oh well, the team's different now and it's not gonna be the same. It's gonna be better, I think. I really do. This team is good. It is good. The level of talent is completely different, and in a way, I think it's a lot better. It's going to be. I think it's going to make for more exciting basketball.
What I noticed is there are like at least what they're all saying is they're all unified already. They're a very tight knit group. Damon Parker went as much to say it's one of the more tight knit basketball teams he's ever seen. So that's what I walked away from media day was I was like, wow, this team is already together because talent can be there. I mean, on paper last year Memphis was supposed to be really really good. And they weren't, and so. Whether or not they can gel is always the hard part. And it looks like, that hasn't been an issue. John Jacobs wasn't really too phased at that when we talked to him, but when he first got hired. So I think it's worked out in that department. And so, they play a tough non-conference schedule. So we'll know in the early part of the season if this team is really ready to go or not. I think that'll be.
I just want to go a little bit deeper on Bob Miller because I think he is the most important player on this basketball team. Just point blank, like I think that to the sense of like what you want FAU to look like this year and what the goal is. If you've ever watched a Baylor basketball game, their centers might be the most important player on the basketball court every year, and they've got good guards, they've got good wings who can do different things, but. They normally have bigs who are versatile, who are able to do a lot of different things. And like Baba Miller is not a point guard, but he is one of the best passing bigs in college basketball. There's not a pass I don't think he can't make on some level of a consistent basis. He's not going to be passing it like a point guard does, but to that same degree, right? Like when you think about versatility in college basketball, think about every team that was in the Final Four last year outside of Purdue with Zach Edey. And Zach Edey was 7'6" and could just be a menace inside. But Donovan Clingan could pass the ball. The bigs that Alabama had could pass the ball. Vlad had grown as a passer during his time. And I will
say by the end of it, it was definitely
and I don't want anyone to take this as me slighting on Vlad Golden because I'm not, right? Like Vlad Golden is an incredibly talented basketball player who is going to get professional basketball looks somewhere. But he was not the same level of passer as Baba Miller is. And for an offense that is built around having bigs that can pass the ball, I had said that Baba Miller is a contender for the American Conference Player of the Year. And I'm standing by this. I think that he is a first-team all-conference talent player for FAU.
He's also extremely quick. Like, he's quick. He's not just, like, lumbering around the court. He's quick. And I feel bad for whoever's got to man up with him, on the court. I don't, it's going to be a challenge.
In practice, I think it's really good that the two Lithuanians, Montas and Matas, they get to go up against him. They may have not been the most athletic coming in here, but they're definitely having to improve if they're going up against him every practice. So we'll see. We'll see how they are. They got a preseason matchup against Auburn at Auburn, which AD mentioned as a game they're excited about, and it'll give they're not just going to go out there and run cardio. That that's going to be a competitive game, and we'll get a barometer for what to expect this season. And Indiana State first game of the year as well should be good. So
we also have the home game on the 26th against St. Leo's. Yeah. That's the exhibition game. It's at 2:00, and they're treating it like a home game atmosphere. They're trying to, at least they're doing the whole.
That's a Saturday, right?
It's the Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. That place is going to be. I mean, it should be rocking, right? I mean, I'm hoping. You said it too. The fans are still as crazy as they were, and I think they will be, especially because there's still a lot of time. But at least in the early part of football season, there hasn't been a lot for the fans to kind of rally around yet. So unless things are gonna. The season's still going in football, but basketball season will be here, sooner than later, and the fans are definitely waiting for that one. So
the whole schedule's been released now, right? So we know every game. We know our first conference game at January 2nd against Memphis, right? That's crazy. What games are you guys looking most forward to? I know we have UCF also that on the road. That's a big one.
Putting you spot here.
UCF on the road is going to be big. By the end of conference play, I'm hoping this team has, work. There's going to be some issues, whatever it is, and I'm hopefully they're able to work that out. They've got that Michigan State game at the end of conference play. If they're really getting ready to gear up for another potential tournament run, that Michigan State game right at the end of non-conference play there will definitely give them.
That's a huge game. We have some huge games. That UCF game though, I mean, I feel like that one right there. If they can somehow pull that game off on the road, beginning of the season, I feel like that's the same switch that we had when we beat Florida 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, and then after that, they just rolled out for 21 wins in a row, whatever it was, 20 wins in a row, something ridiculous. But I feel like we need that one switch game to I
think the game that is going to tell a lot about this team. It's not early in the season. It's I think their fourth or fifth conference game. That home game against UAB. I don't know why people aren't talking more about UAB.
UAB is really good. UAB they juiced up. They got Yaxel's coming back again. He surprised everybody.
Tony. Don't forget about Tony.
Is he still there? Tony.
Yeah. Tony. The best name in the American.
Yep.
But I know why everyone talks about
Lindenberg is pretty good too.
Yeah, right? But I know why everyone talks about Memphis and why everyone talks about USF because they're teams that had success last season to varying levels of degree. UAB is the team that no one talks about that people should be talking about because
they lost gains. They lost gains,
and they also have one of the best coaches, in my opinion. I think Andy Kennedy is a great coach.
Andy Kennedy is an awesome coach. Andy Kennedy was Todd Abernathy's coach.
At Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. So
Andy Kennedy is one of the most liked coaches in college basketball, and for good reason. He finds ways to win basketball games.
Apparently, I've never really met him. Robbie, quiet down, dude.
I know my dog is losing it in the background.
That was your dog. I think that for the American, he's an awesome coach to be in the American. We'll leave it.
Yeah.
Andy Kennedy is selling himself short being in the American. I think he could be at any SEC school or ACC school coaching at that level.
But they do lose Eric Gaines. They do lose Javion Davis, who is a good forward for them. But they replaced those guys. If you look at who they brought in, Tyron Moore is a terrific scorer of the basketball, and he's a guy who I think translates to the American.
I feel like Eric Gaines was super underrated too.
Eric Gaines was the glue of that team.
I thought Eric Gaines was one of the best players in the conference. I really did.
The comparison that I have is that he was a better Mike Forrest for UAB because he was so important to how they operated as an offense and how they operated as a team that you could tell the difference between 2 years ago, you could tell when Mike Forrest was on the floor, and you could tell when Mike Forrest was not on the floor.
So Mike Forrest was a really disciplined basketball player, right? I think Eric Gaines was more of an athletic basketball player.
Yeah.
Eric Gaines, the tournament that was in was it Frisco at the Star?
Yeah, he had a good AAC tournament.
He was awesome, man. I saw him take the lane and just dunk over two people out of nowhere. I was like, Eric. I was like, this guy's a freak, man.
He was a monster.
6'2". How tall was he? 6'2", 6'3"? And or 6'4", maybe max 6'4". But he played like he was 6'6". He really did. He was a good.
A lot of teams are going to be
big loss for UAB. Who's going to be good?
No, a lot of AAC teams. I'm thinking North Texas, Wichita State needs a bounce back here.
I don't know
Temple. They've brought in two really good recruits. I forgot Mashburn and one other guy. So Temple's gonna be good, at least on paper. And ECU
Wichita
brought
State, they were good last year. They just didn't get over that little hump to win the games they could have won.
I'm gonna give a team that people need to watch out for because no one talked about them the entire offseason, and I get why. They added, like FAU, an entire team of transfers.
Are you talking about North Texas?
No, UTSA's got talent on that basketball team.
UTSA.
It might take a year for it to fully gel together, but the coach they hired is a terrific head coach. He won a lot at the D2. It was the guy from
Austin Clonch.
Austin Clonch. Where were he? Alabama Huntsville or something?
I forgot where he was at.
It was one of the.
I'm not worried about him this year. I'm not worried about him this year.
I think that just from the perspective of like talent-wise, Primo Spears, the guard from FSU, is an incredibly good basketball player. He averaged 10 points or something at the ACC level. They add a few other guys who are like talented basketball players, and so like this is not the sense of like FAU should be scared about their chances of winning the conference compared to like like having to play them, but like they remind me a lot of Temple from last season, where like Temple was a team that no one talked about all season. They had moments throughout the year. Like I think we all remember when they took FAU down to the wire in the regular season.
How about when they beat FAU in the
when they beat FAU in the tournament? And
who remembers the gambling scandal? I mean, that was the highlight of the season.
Yeah, like so.
I remember that very well. Something was fishy about their whole season.
UTSA may not have a gambling scandal.
All of a sudden, they can play basketball.
They're all suddenly betting the overs and they're winning. This is intriguing. No, but I think UTSA is a team that's going to have some close games in the American, and it wouldn't shock me if when they play FAU, it's a close game that FAU ends up winning because they've got the talent where it's like they're going to be in games that they probably shouldn't be in. Now, like they're not going to win the conference or anything. They're going to probably be one of the worst teams in the conference, but they've definitely got the talent.
I think I'm not worried about them one bit. They literally have the worst. I think they have like the worst D1 facility in all of college basketball.
That stadium is something.
Glass doors right to the outside, like into the gym.
If we're being honest, most American teams don't have the best facilities, but
there are some schools
that one in the good old.
Listen, let's take Memphis out of it for a second because they play in an NBA arena, right? Like,
and they have FedEx money. That doesn't count.
The Super Pit is really nice. Charlotte's got the Fogelman Arena, right? Like, I think
that's Temple or that's Tulane.
That's Tulane. Okay, Tulane's got the Fogelman Arena. Charlotte has a pretty nice arena too. USF has a great arena. The facilities in the American aren't that bad. Wichita State has a basketball only arena. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, Kevin. I don't. You're talking about UTSA and FAU. Temple's got a full-on basketball arena.
If we're talking about facilities outside of arenas,
outside of arenas,
they don't have a lot of state-of-the-art facilities, which is not like to be surprised. Mid-major programs normally don't have that. They're also normally not to the level of like FAU, which I mean are just things that they're trying to fix, right? And it's like it's going to take time for them to get facilities and stuff. Those things do not happen overnight. But also, like, I also don't think it matters if we're being honest, because we saw FAU make the Final Four with the facilities that they have.
Way less than what we have right now.
Yeah, with way less than we have right now.
So I mean, like that says something, right? Like good coaching, good players, determination, heart, all those things.
At the mid-major level, if you've got good coaching and you've got players who believe in a mission and a goal, you can at least make runs. And the facilities are just going to come with time. So like bringing this back to like UTSA and FAU and stuff, it's like I get why everyone talks about the facilities. Me personally, I don't care. Like I care more about who's on the basketball court and who's playing every single week.
No, I'd rather have a really, really full small arena than one that feels cavernous and empty, even when there's a lot of people there. So, you know what I mean? Like, I think, and it's harder to play. We all know this. Like, we all know this. It's hard to come to the Ellie when it's rocking and win a game. Like
that's what Penny Hardaway said at the end of last year about.
He was right.
He was right. He wasn't lying, and he went back. And our visiting locker room is literally a closet, and that's fine. Right. I was talking to Graphene today. I'm trying to get them to paint the inside pink, like floors and ceilings and everything pink in there. So when you walk in, it's like you're swimming in a bottle of Pepto-Bismol. Like, I think that'd be really cool. But I'm a jerk, so that's okay.
That'd be the real flamingo vibe.
I know what you're going to try and do now, Robbie, but I want to talk one more thing. Penny Hardaway fired his whole staff, right?
Yeah.
There's more drama in Memphis right now than a high school cheerleading team. I don't think
maybe that was the right move, though. You know, that might.
I mean, he only had Rick Stansberry as an assistant. Like, I don't know. Like,
that might have been the right move, though. They needed to kind of, you know, shake things up over there after last year. Like I said, their team was talented, but it didn't click, and part of that is probably
coaching. I know it's 100% coaching. Like, if you have that team that they had last year, and they had a good team last year, like Memphis had like a lot of talent.
Quinterly is,
I think that what happens, and they did it. They kind of, in a way, they kind of did it again this year, and I think it's going to backfire them again. Penny goes and he recruits the star from like a mid-major team, and he gets like 5 or 6 of them, right? Like the best player on this mid-major team. Like he got that kid from Tulsa, right? Or
TJ Haggerty. He brought in Tyrese Hunter from Texas, who's good.
Yeah. You know, and all these kids are used to being the star on the team, right? The one with the ball, the one that they're looking to take that shot, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that, man. You can't put all those egos together when you can't coach when you can't coach them the right way. And I think that's the weakness in Memphis, and I think we're going to see that again this year, because I called it before last year, and they self-destructed. You know, they tried to get through it and work through it, but they just couldn't.
It happens.
But Jourdain is good.
Yep. But
all right, go ahead, Robbie. Go ahead.
I know. You know, we got to get to it eventually.
We only have 8 minutes. Only 8 minutes left. Might as well talk about
Memphis basketball will be in Boca Raton sooner than later. We'll talk more hoops here on Inside the Burrow. We might have a special guest here too before the season starts, although it is like 16 days away at this point until October 26th.
Amazing.
So that is crazy, but we'll talk more hoops soon. We still got football to talk. North Texas is coming to town versus FAU this week. They're bringing a high-octane offense into town. First point of discussion, obviously, was trying to figure out who was going to be the quarterback going into this week. Tom Herman made that simple on Tuesday. He announced Cam's going to be the guy. He's healthy. You know, Kaysen came in there in that second half, and he looked good. But at the end of the day, the plan was never to give him the keys to the kingdom. So this is Cam's job. But they know now that if the wheels really start to fall off, they know what they can get in Kaysen. You guys think that was the right move? Was it the only move?
This is a cop-out answer. I'm not there every day in practice. I don't see what the difference is. So, like, everyone wants to point to a half of football against Wagner and be like, well, player X looked better than player Y. And I get it. But there is a lot more to it.
I don't know if you could judge Wagner.
Yeah, there is a lot more to
benchmark anything against, right?
Yeah,
they're benchmarking against the team like, I don't know, North Texas.
Yeah, it's like
it's
a team that's like supposed to be at like an even level.
It's not fair to either player to sit here and be like, well, he looked better against Wagner, because circumstances are different, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you are trying things against Wagner that you don't try against North Texas because you can get away with it against Wagner. And Wagner is a good FCS team. They're not an amazing FCS team. They had no chance of beating FAU on Saturday. It's like,
I mean, at the begining, they looked like
was anyone actually worried? It's a different conversation.
So, you want a funny story? That
was not.
It was the first home game I missed. Did we do a pod since I was sick? I think we did, right?
Yeah, yes, we did. You told us you missed that one. But anyway.
It was wild. No one even noticed because they were having so much fun because there was a win happening.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, so no one even.
I'm starting to think you can't go to any more games, Mike, because they are. I mean,
the offense looked good without you, man.
Yeah. No, but like, I'm not there every day in practice. They practice every day. I don't see the differences, right? Like, I don't see how Fancher looks in 11-on-11 drills in practice. I don't see how Kaysen Wiseman looks. And so, like, to some degree, it's like I just have to trust the guys who see him every day. I have to trust Herbert. I have to trust Charlie Fry to see what they see, because I don't know like what Cam Fancher's thumb problems were and like how much they truly affected him. Because first of all, I'm not a doctor. I'm a sports writer who's on a podcast at 4:30 p.m. on a Thursday. But like I don't really have an opinion on like who was better, because I'm not there every day in practice. I I can't judge two guys based off of a half of football against Wagner.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think, that's kind of my mentality with it too, is like, also Cam was voted the captain. So, I think they rally around him a little bit more potentially than Kaysen right now. And that's nothing against Kaysen, but Cam was supposed to be the guy when he was brought in here. Welcome back, Mike. I'm sure the staff and team as a whole want to get things right under Cam, because that was their guy going into the season. But it was good that they know what they can get out of Kaysen, and should they need to go to him, the option is there. But that Wagner game is kind of the second game this year where they were able to really run the ball. The passing looked good with both Cam and Kaysen, although Cam and Kaysen both had struggles at certain points. Was that enough for you guys to say you're confident that they're going to be able to score in this game against a UNT defense, which isn't the best, but they're pretty solid. So how confident are we in the offense?
I'm not confident. Unfortunately, I wish I had more confidence, and maybe after Saturday with some changes, we will have some more confidence. But from what I've seen, when you play the FCS schools, I take it as a grain of salt, man. It's like, yeah, good for us. We kicked the crap out of,
a team you're supposed to.
A bunch of guys who couldn't play D1 ball. It's whatever. It's a win. I guess we'll take it. It's like us going to play Alabama. They're not like parade. They're not marching down the street with the marching band parading after they beat FAU, right?
They're not ripping down the goalposts like Vandy did against them.
That was awesome. And if we ever beat a number one at our stadium for whatever reason, or whatever, even like any team that's ranked high like that, like I'll be the
number
first
one. Iowa
down and march to the damn ocean. I think if that happens and we ever take a goalpost down, it's got to go down Spanish River right to the beach.
When's the back half of the home and home with Iowa? That's
throw it in the Atlantic.
Iowa's not going to be number one ranked. Robbie,
that's the best shot in terms of teams on schedule right now, unless.
Coming to our stadium, 100%. I think that's the only shot.
But like, in terms of the offense, it's wait and see, right? Like, don't tell me, show me. Don't tell me that you're improved, that you spent the bye week improving. Show me that you did.
Play with some guts. Play with some smarts. Like, let's do something. Change it up, because it looks.
So with that in mind, though, UNT is going to come here and try to air them out. So, assuming the offense
4-1, they're coming for win number 5, that's
so what, but at the same time, FAU also has a really good DB room. They've got Bugs Brown, they've got Day Hill to match up against DT Sheffield and potentially Damon Ward Jr. He might be out injured. But both DT Sheffield and Damon Ward have been really solid for North Texas this year. And, I think the FAU defense has a chance to slow down North Texas. I don't necessarily know that they can shut them down, but I think there's a chance that FAU wins a couple possessions, forces a punt here and there, because it's not like the DBs of this team are the weakness, and if anything, it's the strength of the defense. So I think there's a chance to slow them down. But, how does the offense kind of match that? And I feel like they kind of have to run the ball a little bit, and are we confident at least in the run game? Maybe not the pass game, but do we think the run game is going to play a big role in this one?
It has to, because you're not going to be able to, like, just being brutally honest, you can't keep up with North Texas. You can't turn this game into a track meet, because North Texas is going to beat you in a track meet. They scored 53 points last week against Tulsa 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when they played that game. They played Wyoming and scored 44. They're scoring 40 points a game. It feels like, and they are a top 20 passing offense in college football right now. And so,
it's going to be a challenge.
If you are going into this game thinking that you can turn this into a track meet and you can beat them throwing the ball, no, you just can't. You need to run the ball. You need to be able to establish the running game. You need to be able to take the ball out of that offense's hands as much as possible. It's very much like what Army does to teams, right? Where it's like, they go up 14-0, and then they just go, we're going to run the ball down your throat the entire game until you stop it. FAU needs to take a similar strategy. Like, I'm not telling them to go line up in flex mode and go run the triple option, but like, you need to run the ball. You need to control time possession. You need to take the ball out of their hands. If you don't do that, they're scoring 45 points on you and you're losing the game. Because the more they touch the ball, the more they have a chance of scoring touchdowns, because they're not a team that needs to sustain drives. I think their average drive is like freaking 4 plays, it feels like. I don't know what it is exactly, but it feels like it's 4 or 5 plays. And they just drive down the field, they score a touchdown, they go back on defense. And so, like, the minute you turn this into a track meet, you're probably not winning the game.
And, FAU's offense, let's say they're improved. I mean, I don't even know if coming into the season with their top 4 out of 6 wide receivers even being here, I don't know if they're matching the production of a North Texas team, even if they're fully healthy. So I don't even think that's a possibility to try to match them unless something unheralded happens over the week. They have to run the ball, and I mean, it's there for them. North Texas allowed 150 to South Alabama, 229 to Tulsa last week or 2 weeks ago, and Texas Tech, they allowed 232 rushing yards. Other 2 games, they were sound against Wyoming and I believe, I want to say like Stephen F. Austin. But, those are 3 games against pretty decent, solid teams that they allowed big amounts of yards on the ground. So I think it's got to be a big game for Zoo, got to be a big game for CJ, but at the same time, the pass has to be there to open that up. They can't hope to just run it every down, which is kind of a good thing. Kind of forces this pass game to prove it a little bit, but they can't go crazy. Guys, I kind of look at this game, even if, whatever happens, it's kind of almost, to me, a must-win game. You've got UTSA next week, and then you've got that difficult stretch of the schedule with ECU, ECU is not the most difficult, but USF's in there. So, it's to me, this one's kind of almost a must-win at home. If you lose 2 straight, next week, if you lose this one, then you got to go on the road next week versus UTSA, and you might lose 2 straight there. That's my
birthday. That's my birthday. They're not losing on my birthday.
I don't know, but guys, is this a must-win game?
Yes. Well, I don't know. I mean, honestly, at this point, Robbie, like we're kind of deep in the season now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like every game is a must-win at this point, right?
Yeah, like they all are. And you know what? It's like, how do we salvage the season at this point, right?
I don't subscribe to the belief that games mid-season are more important than any other game, right? Like, outside of a rivalry game, which you want to win because it's a rivalry game, I don't think beating North Texas is any more important than beating ECU a few weeks later. The truth is, all these games are must-wins. Yeah. Because there are expectations in place, and to reach those expectations, you have to win football games. And so,
well, we've got 2 so far, and we have North Texas now, right? Saturday.
Yep. So that's what I'm saying.
We got UTSA, and then we have USF.
Yeah,
those are 3.
And so,
can you win 2 of those? Is like truthfully what I'm looking at.
It's like you need to win to be for morale of like the fan base. You got to win 2 of those games.
Well, yeah. Also, if you win out of 2 of those games, then you only have to get 2 wins out of East Carolina, Temple, Charlotte, and Tulsa to get a bowl game. I think that's manageable. I think
those 4 are going to be easier probably than these 3.
Than this next stretch of 3 games. But also, you don't want to be chasing.
If we go 0-3 and then go into those 4, it's not going to make a difference.
The biggest issue is you don't want to get to a point where all 4 games are must wins and you have to win them to clinch bowl eligibility, because
I don't know if they've got that in the bones.
You don't want to be the team that's desperate for 4 straight wins. You don't want to be. You don't want to be the team trying to climb out of a hole you dug yourself earlier in the season. And like, the easiest way to not dig yourself out of a hole is pick up wins in these 3 games. And whether it's you consider them stealing wins because these are 3 of the better teams in the American talent-wise. I know that UTSA has not looked the best. USF has looked beatable. But
we're going to see them this weekend. I guess Saturday we will have a better shot on USF playing Memphis.
We might see them. Hopefully, we see them. The game might be in Orlando. We don't know. We'll see.
It doesn't matter. We'll see what they do. But USF, we have to play them on a Friday night at homecoming.
If USF doesn't have Byron Brown,
season, I had really good vibes about the season, and then just maybe we need another year of development and building.
These next 3 games will tell you what this team really
finding
is.
More pieces, I guess. But.
Like the truth is, these next 3 games, coming off of a bye week, knowing where you stand after 5 weeks of the season, these are going to tell you what this team is or is not.
There are good things, coming out of the team. Like, we have CJ Hurd. Hopefully we can keep him here.
Yeah, Mike, you just said the quiet part out loud. I haven't said it on air, but keeping CJ Hurd this offseason is going to be probably at the top of our buddy Matt's checklist and working with the recruiting department, because he's going to be one of the best young DBs in the country. He already is.
He might be the best young DB in the entire country. So it was a miracle that we were able to bring him here for this year. I feel terrible that the team around him isn't at the level that we wish it was at. Can we get there? Well, we have another chance on Saturday. So hopefully things change. Hopefully we're all surprised, because I know how we all feel right now, right? Like it's no surprise we're all a little down in the dumps, right? About football, and nothing changes that like a win, right?
Right. I mean, the bye week, has us forgetting what happened. Wagner was a good game. That was a good game. We just gotta, find a way to bottle. I understand it was against Wagner. I understand. That's what I'm saying. They have to bottle up whatever they did.
Playing in basketball, it's like not fair.
They have to just find what they did, bottle it, and execute again. That's simple. That's what it has to be. I'm not
like that after the FIU game. I was like, they found the confidence. They know how to win now. Maybe this is kicking the ass.
Well,
and this.
Then they ran into UConn,
and then.
So I don't know, Mike. Tell me though. What is going to happen in this game, Mike? And then what does FAU have to do in this game to win it?
I don't even know, man. I think a lot of it has come down to calling. It starts with calling the right play, man. So hopefully some things change there. Some of the play calling has been a little, I'm not going to say suspicious, but maybe the right play was called and it just fell apart. We don't know. We don't know what happens when the ball snapped, right? Like it's so hard. It's so hard. I think the defense needs to just keep doing what they're doing. And I think the quarterback, just whoever it is, just protect him, give him some time to do what he needs to do. Otherwise, the play falls apart, and it's like just a disaster. The whole thing looks terrible after that. So I know,
and I think
right. Like is that kind of like a fair assumption of like
the
O-line. Our O-line is unfortunately young and weak a little bit. They haven't played together for a long time. Like five games in.
They've looked better though when you've had the right side trio of Fed, Andre Lamas, and Alex Akovich. Those guys have played football together a while, and so that has kind of seen some. It hasn't been. We haven't all of a sudden went to be looking like Michigan on the offensive line, but the last 3 games there's been some improvement, and they just have to keep that up. North Texas doesn't have game-changing pass rushers, but they have guys who will get the job done. And for me in this game, what it's going to come down to is, can they force Chandler Morris to turn the ball over? He's got 6 turnovers on the year. That's more than 1 per game. Shout out Tom Herman for that math. I wouldn't have been able to figure it out. But that's something they have to capitalize on. FAU's been good at forcing turnovers this season. If they can do that and then find ways to capitalize off those turnovers, they can't get the pick, they can't pull out the turnover chain, whatever FAU does, and then punt the ball 4 plays later. That just can't happen. If they can force turnovers, capitalize them, and change the game and get the momentum in their favor, they've got a shot. It's going to be an uphill battle regardless. UNT is like right outside of that Tulane USF Byram injury in Memphis at the top of like the top teams in the conference discussion. They're right there below them, and they keep winning. They're one of the best teams in the conference. So FAU's got a shot, but they have to slow the UNT offense down somehow, and it's going to start with the turnovers. I don't know what's going to happen in this game. I'm not Nostradamus, but I could see it going one of two ways. I could see FAU keeping this game close and winning a squeaker at home, and they've really turned a page. Or I could see the offense reverting back to its old struggles and UNT just coming in there and doing what they do on offense, and they win it handily. So we'll see if the offense has found its stride, like everyone in the building believes that they've got a shot, but it's still going to be an uphill battle. Kevin, anything different?
Run the dang ball. Just run the dang ball. You can't, as I said, you can't beat North Texas turning this into a track meet. If anyone in that room thinks that they're going to out-throw North Texas, you're going to lose. Just truthfully, you're not going to win. But again, this is, for me, it's show me, don't tell me. Don't tell me that the offense looks better, that you're confident, but show me. Show me that it's different. You had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Probably more of a week or 2 weeks because of the bye week, right? There's nothing else I could say outside of show me that you're better, because to some degree it's we've reached the point of this season where it's I don't know that you're better. I need to see that you're better in a game that has stakes involved in it.
This game is going to be big, guys. I think this game really tells the season. For me, it's a must-win. If they don't win this game, then they have to go into San Antonio next week and win that one. So
on my birthday,
they're going to have to win that one anyway. Mike Birdman's birthday, downtown San Antonio is going to be a wild scene. Watch out for them, folks.
Going streaking.
Yeah, you heard it here first. But we'll see how this one goes. Hopefully, we come back to you guys next week with a sense of joy that FAU beat North Texas. But the season is still a lot to go. So
it's in limbo right now.
I know.
Let's be honest. It's in limbo. This is like we said, 2 out of 3. Let's get it done.
We shall see.
I don't think we're gonna have an awesome crowd either this weekend. I really don't.
It's Tri-County Appreciation Day. Hopefully the locals come out in full force. We shall see. ESPN prime time, North Texas FAU, I believe 7 p.m. Make sure to check that one out, folks. Until next time, for Kevin Fielder and Mike Birdman, I'm Robbie LaStella. This is Inside the Burrow. Hoot 'em.